Hello and welcome. Does your vote count? Does your vote count? Now, you see, one thing south of the Sahara that we don't joke with is our right to vote. Indeed, there are so many rights in the Constitution. Human rights, right to live, right to education. And sometimes we all overlook all these rights. But as for our right to vote, countries that have denied their citizens this right have fallen apart. You could let children pitch camp at a traffic light, deny them their education, they're fine. But when they turn 18 and you refuse them vote, that's the end of the country. Now, in order to do this, we have to all put our name in one book, and then on the day you come and check if your name is in the book, and then you're allowed to vote. Now, that book is the question as to whether it's credible or not credible. That too, we are split in two in the nation. Pro-government supporters says the book is just fine. Well, a little glitch here and there, but we can work with it. Opposing government people will say, no. We don't trust this book. It's too bloated, there are too many people in there, and we need to get some people out. The EC indeed said, well, if that's the case, I am going to summon a panel. I'm going to call all political parties and stakeholders together, talk about the register. I was frustrated we didn't talk about the national ID, so the national ID feeds the register, but hey, we just went straight to the register, so we need to try and make a register perfect. The panel sat. The panel came with their recommendations and they left. The EC has been around testing a few biometric machines here and there, and I think very soon they will open this book again for us all to go and either write our names or take our names out. Is this book credible? Is it trustworthy? Is it fit enough for us to go into the next election? Propagandists of let my vote count are saying, now listen, we will hit the streets if you don't change the rules. You cannot bring this book back. They've given 7 days. I want to find out what led to this 7-day ultimatum. What will they do at the 7th day? And what should the nation do with regards to our voters register? My name is Nana Nsakwa. This is PM Express, and I am asking, does your vote count? Don't move. Does your vote count? And I know this side of the world, voting matter is serious matter. And apart from it being serious, the voter's ID is precious. If you want any ID, forget about the passport. You need a voter's register. It's like a prime document. So we all want it, but we want it legitimized so that anybody holding it is indeed 18. Number one, we don't know who's 18, where they live, how they turn 18. So we have all these complexities, but amongst all these challenges, let my vote count is saying, we don't care, get it right. With me in the studio is Ibrahim Ajay, who's been championing that we get this document right. Ibrahim, let me take you back. Before we come here, I know I've asked you this question 1,000 times, but is there a way we can get even 50% right, a voter's register? Is there a way?
There is a way. And firstly, a very good evening to you and our viewers on PM Express. There is definitely a way. Our democracy is a work in progress. And there's a lot that we can, in fact, look to with optimism, given where we've come post-1957, post the military interventions and what have you. And in fact, when you look at the region, I think we've done well. But definitely we can do a lot better, much better, because I think when the will of the people are stolen at either the ballot box, the polling station, or the collation center, it means that we need to rework and reassess how we are doing things. Let me give you a quick example of how you can improve upon matters. Let's go to Nigeria, first and foremost. And I always say this whenever I get the opportunity to engage with the media. As I'm talking, I'm hoping people on their smartphones and Googling. Let's fact check, because people come out and we consume what they say and we don't challenge it. So as I'm talking, please go on your smartphones and Google some of the things I'm going to share with us. You go to Osun State. They did a process of validation. Nigeria has 34 states. They removed in excess of 500,000 ghost names or fake names or whatever you want to take it from that particular state. Altogether in Nigeria, it was 16 million names that were removed. Why? Because Professor Jega, when he was given the opportunity, said we need to do, in fact, validation. A population in excess of 140 million people in Nigeria having such a large register. So this is what they did. I'm getting to how we can achieve the 50% you rightly asked, Nana. What validation did was this. They looked at the register and they invited everybody. They opened the polling stations for in excess of 6 weeks across the length and breadth of the 34 states of our big brother Nigeria. And you will take your voter's ID card. They will biometrically check who you are and facially check who you are, and just make sure that the card holder is indeed the person standing in front of them. And by doing so, they eliminated those who are dead, who couldn't come and do that process, the double registrations that were inside the system, and of course, minors and what have you, because the process of validation is another opportunity for security checks and the layers of security to be done. Now, when you reduce in Osun State, O-S-U-N, for those who are fact-checking what I'm saying, 500,000 people were removed, which then, by, if you will, purification, if we can call it that, if you purify, you get the best of the crop. And so if we indeed do that, as VCRAC CRAB said, December 17th, the report came out. A week or so later, it was given for public consumption. I'm talking the 5-member panel that Charlotte Osei empaneled to advise or recommend the way forward. And they are suggesting that we do the very same thing as a means and a process of, how can I say, adding integrity to our electoral role. So yes, it is possible, Nana. We can in fact achieve, I would argue, more than the 50% accuracy on our electoral role.
Ibrahim, because we use our voters' ID as a prime document, there's much more demand for it than in other countries who may have like a national ID. And so if I have a national ID, you know, why, if I don't want to vote, I don't bother myself. But with us, that's your literally prime document. So everybody wants it. I mean, could that not be the size, why we have that size?
That is one of the reasons, but that still does not take away the fact that it's about eligible people, those over 18, and those who are Ghanaian. So whether we have a national ID system today, that would capture everybody. This is a voter's ID, which means you're 18 and above, and of course, a Ghanaian citizen. So the catchment area is quite narrow. Secondly, it's about the processes in making sure that you only give it to the legitimate people. Now people say, oh, but how is this possible? Then I ask this question. When the police are recruiting, do they just take anybody? You show up, you look like 12 years old, but they'll let you fill in the form. When a university is taking applicants and it has certain age criteria, do they just say, oh, Charlie, well, you look like you're 18, come in? Why I'm saying this is that when the police and the military, let me add the military, but let's say you remove the criteria of stature and height for the military, but just the fact that the military and the police and the universities can filter people who meet the criteria. I'm talking the age criteria. How is it suddenly when it comes to the EC, suddenly we just allow 12-year-olds and 9-year-olds to vote? People who are not Ghanaian to vote. Why is it that the layers of security that the police have when they're recruiting cannot be replicated by the EC when they're taking in applicants? If that's the case, if the EC think they don't have the wherewithal to know who is 18 and Ghanaian, then maybe they should subcontract the Ghana police to come at every polling station and copy and paste the things they do to make sure that before you join the police force, we know you are 18, you're a Ghanaian, and so on and so forth. So since some institutions can determine who is 18 and Ghanaian before they allow them to be recruited, and you, the EC, say you can't do that, but it's a free-for-all then I beg. Allow the police to do the recruitment and the application process.
The challenge there is two. One is that foreign nationals will not be too eager to join the police, even three. And then two, if I was a politician, I have no benefit in going to bring anybody from Siga to come and join the police. But I would want them to come and vote for me. So you have that pressure. And so that's where you have the issue with how the police is able to get Ghanaians, but EC won't get Ghanaians because, you know, nobody is trying to sneak into the police to go and vote for anybody or anything. They just want a job. And it's difficult to just fly in from Benin and say, well, let me try and get into the Ghana. And of course, language could even be a barrier for you. However, in voting, all I need is two, Apatashi drinkers by the side of the road. To say, yeah, he's Ghanaian, was born 20 years ago. I saw him when he was born. That's your voter's right.
And that's it. And the fact that that right can be challenged when the provisional voters register is displayed, as I say, the PVR, CI 72 of the Constitution says 3 months before the election, in this case it will be August of this year, you have to display the voters register. Then you and I can go and challenge those who are on it, who we feel should not be on it. Which means that definitely there's a check and a balance. In the same way that those two Apatishi drinkers can say, yes, I saw him grow up, another two Brukutu drinkers can say, no, we didn't see him grow up. He's not among us. So I'm just saying, because that check and balance exists, you can put that at the beginning. It's not about whether or not foreigners will be interested in coming to vote, or whether politicians, as they do, would want to sneak in supporters, people underage, as they do and they will. Armed robbers will always try to enter a bank at night. It doesn't mean that the bank should leave the door open and say, oh, Charlie, we're going to get robbed anyway, so why waste money on security? You put systems in place. You put systems in place to prevent armed robbers coming into the bank and stealing your money. So you do the same thing with the application process. Now you might think, but it's a bit difficult. How difficult is it, really? Because if we want to be defeatist and say it's difficult, then the police should not have any criteria. When you apply for university, they check with other schools as to whether or not you indeed have the grades you purport to have to study the course you want to. Anamabua.
Yeah.
Good. So why is it that when somebody comes, they give you their name and their age, and definitely they're in the catchment area? Am I right? I'm talking a 14-year-old child or 12-year-old child, somebody under 18. You can't catch everybody, but I'm saying, I'm speaking to the 50% that you asked me, Nana. You can't catch everybody, but here I am, I'm the EC. A person comes who I deem to be less than 18. They give me their name, house number. Now, I'm in a catchment area where the GES, the Ghana Educational Service, is there. And I can share records. Let them register, all right, why not? But where you are doubtful, you flag up the name that, oh, citizen number 42, let's flag him up. Let's cross-check the name with Ghana Educational Service and see if indeed that person is enrolled at school. If he's enrolled at school and not a tertiary institution, it means what? They are less than 18. I'm just saying that, I'm just giving my ideas. Something that the EC can do.
You have 40 million wanting to go on there. I'm sure probably about 500 to 3 million would look young.
Yes.
I mean, but then we're never going to finish registering if I have to ring
but I'm
everybody.
I'm just giving you one area of cross-checking. That people are likely to give their real names. They won't come and say, my name is Barima. For me to come and say, I'm Nana Kwaansa the fourth, I mean, a beggar's belief, because, people will give their real names. They would. It's just the issue of age that is a dispute. And so what you do, you quickly cross-reference those names. Right now, within the new system that the EC have told us, they've upgraded the software, whereby multiple registrations can be deleted at source. The pilot that they did last Saturday, across the 20 constituencies. We have 29,000 constituencies, but they decided to do 20. Whether that's a sufficient pool to test the system, we'll find out, I'm sure, in November.
What sampling is that?
Yes, I mean, it's at 0.00%, I'm sure. It's 29,000. 10% of 29,000 would be 2,900. And then I guess 5% of that would be in the region of, what, 1,450. That's 5%. 2.5% of that would be in the region of 750 polling stations. All right? So again, 1% of that would be in the region of around 290 polling stations. 1% of 29,000 is 290 polling stations. But they did 20. That's 0.01% of the sample. But anyway, that's the EC. They've been found wanting on so many areas, to the point that last year, district assembly elections were cancelled because they were pursuing an illegality.
Let me hold your thought
Yes,
there.
sir.
Let me take a break here, and then when I come back, I want to find out, because I don't let my vote count is given 7 days, and after 7 days they will hit the road. So let's find out what's going to happen. Stay tuned. Well, thank you very much. We are back, and I'm asking, does your vote count? Right? How could I forget that? To tell you that today is my birthday. Can you believe it? Yeah. 40 years as Kwekusin Team Lisa and 5 years as Ansakwa. So it's been a while.
Congratulations.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, sir.
Thank you.
God richly bless you.
And on that note, I'm reminding you that on the 26th of March, all roads to the Little Republic of Edumasa. Come and see, I have my own little green book for my achievements. You have to come and see my little green book and join in the celebration. Culture, culture, culture. You'll be amazed. And I'll give you more details as the show goes on. But now we are checking out if your vote indeed does count. 7 days to hit the road.
Yeah.
What's the demand?
The demand is for the EC to do what its panel has recommended. It's not to do what Let My Vote Count has recommended or has asked for all this while. We want a new register.
New or clean?
New. Let My Vote Count Alliance. What we're asking for, and that includes the PPP, you have the CPP and NDP. At the Alisa Hotel, these political parties, together with the MPP, advocated for a new register, because that's the only way to clean, if I use that word, the only way to have a credible register that is not bloated. We have 14,152,038 people on the register. Now, given our statistics from the Ghana Statistical Service of everybody who's 18 and above, in Ghana today, if all of those, 100% of those were allowed to register, you would have 13 million and I think 600,000. So how is it that if everybody, as per the statistics, were allowed to vote, and no country has 100% voter registration, even in Australia where it's compulsory to register and vote. So here is a case where we have 14,152,038 on the register today, whereas if you just look at those who are 18 and above, it's just over 13 million. Already it's bloated by 1 million more than is statistically possible of those who are 18 and above. But coming to, in terms of what our demands are, it's for the EC to do what its own panel has recommended, Nana. Because we wanted a new register from scratch. That's it, from scratch. But the EC own panel says that the middle ground that they see, in fact, is to indeed also to remove the 584,000 people who they estimate would have died between 2012 and 2016, is to have the validation process. And so that's what our demand is. And put it on the timetable. You put on a timetable which has somehow ignored what your own panel has told you to do.
When you say from the scratch, we should throw this one away and start afresh, or build a new one out of this new one?
No, you start from scratch.
How?
The same way we did in 2012. In June 2012, Dr. Farijan, it was June 25th. That's when the voter registration was opened. In 2012, we had biometric. So the how becomes mute because we've done it before. 2012, we had a new register. It was biometric. So we threw away the old one that we had.
Was that not just copying from?
No, you can't copy. How can you copy somebody's fingerprint
No,
that isn't in
you come and say, okay, yeah, that's me, Nana Sakwa, I'm here. So Give me a biometric
Are you
one.
talking now or back in
No,
2012?
back in 2012.
No. You had to put your fingerprint on there. We had never done it before.
No.
It was a whole new register.
No, but you are allowed to do that if you were already on the register.
No, it captured everybody's data. Everybody's data. It's not about being on the register. It was a whole new register. So you came in, put your fingerprint on, and then, if you're talking about means of identification, if that's where you're going, how do you identify yourself? Yes, some may have used the old voter's ID card.
But now you're scrapping it.
It's what we're asking for is a new register, i.e., for the processes to start again.
So what
would happen?
No, yeah, like the determining factor to get onto this new register.
The rules are there. You need to prove that you're Ghanaian by way of documentation or having somebody vouch for you.
Two appetition drinkers.
Yeah, exactly. To vouch for you. Birth certificate. The things that have allowed people to register are still there. The anomaly that happened in 20...
Realistically, you see, it's a shame. And it's a basic, but realistically, it's not possible.
Yes, but...
I mean, if I were the EC boss and, Ibrahim Ajay, somebody said, oh, no, Ibrahim was born in Australia, he was born in Sweden, he's a Swedish. What do I do? Take you to court. I mean, the MPPs come with 76,000 names. And you can't bunch them all together and say, this is one case. That's 72,000 cases.
76,000.
Well, 76,000 cases.
Yes.
Already the courts have a backlog of what? 562,000 cases. That will push us to 600,000. So it's a never ending. We'll never vote in the country.
It is possible. You had on your program one bishop last week or so.
Yeah, Bishop Samuel Mensah.
Yes, he spoke very well. He spoke to the national interest. And until we recognize that we can do it, then we won't do it. And I listened to your show many times, my opinion, and you speak to the national interest as to how, if we have the will, we can do it. It is possible. Why is it? It's like somebody saying, it was April the 1st, isn't it amazing? February 14th of 2015, Nigeria should have gone to the polls, Valentine's Day. President Goodluck Jonathan, doing all the gymnastics he wanted to do, cancelled it, and then they held it on April 1st. During that process, prior to that, they had removed, Nana, 16 million fake names from the register. Now, so as I said, it's a working process. I'm sure by the time Nigeria goes to the next polls, the filtering and the security layers will be even better. And we'll get there. The term gerrymandering comes from where? It comes from Hertfordshire in the UK, where there was Kululu, if I can use our local parlance. And the UK, through the process, they slowly started to refine it. You know how they used to vote in the UK? By show of hands. There's no secret ballot. The secret ballot came 15 years later. 15 years later. So it was a show of hands. Can you imagine, I want to vote party A, and my boss, who pays me, says, Ibrahim, I'm watching you. Because it was on the public. So what did the UK do? They then enacted the laws which allowed for secret ballots. I'm just saying that we are a work in progress. Back in those days, before the Reform Act of 1863, I'm talking Benjamin Disraeli, when he was the Whigs and he became Conservative. Sorry for the history lesson.
Sure, it's good.
Okay. Before the Reform Act came into place, the corruption in the UK's political arena was worse than Ghana. We are living right now. They would look at us and say, we should copy the Africans. If today the world was the same, if we were living then, UK would copy what we are doing in Ghana. These guys have got it right. But it's a working process. So we can do it. Nigeria has shown the way. And I'm saying, who would have thought we would have today transparent ballot boxes? Who would have thought today we would have photo ID cards? Who would have thought today we would have biometric? Some time back, it was an impossibility. So we can do it, but with the wherewithal, we can make sure that people who should not be there, minors and foreigners, we can do it. And it's for the EC to police that process. And where it feels that it cannot do it, then engage institutions who can. I'm sure that if we have military men, not to intimidate, or policemen, and to make sure, and even you can have fast-track courts within the jurisdiction, whereby, because as you register, what do? They give you a card. But if you can challenge people there and then, and so that they're not given a card, but the card is put on I hate us. You register, I challenge you, and the policeman and a person of the law courts is there at the polling station. So in order...
It's not an easy case.
You say that, but I'm saying that I'm giving you the same example. The more we say it's not easy, it's not easy. What is easy? Was our freedom easy?
No, so
Kwame Nkrumah, Casely Hayford, Mensah Saba, J.B. Dankwa, Akwa J would have all given up if we had that. It's not easy to get. How are we going to get freedom from these white people? But we did it. And our electoral process can be done. Go to Kenya, how they've managed to manage their biometric. I've just mentioned Nigeria, but let me give you Kenya as an example, whereby it's not the best, but you see it's layer upon layer. And what we're saying to the EC is to do what the panel has said in their report. It's a 77-page report that is saying this is the process to do validation. It won't give you utopia, but you'll get an environment where there'll be a lot of integrity and confidence in the process. That's what they need to do. And you can do it. We can do it. Inshallah, we will do it.
Let me ask you this question again. I mean, why don't we channel this energy into getting a national ID? Why are we so afraid of a national ID, yet we are pursuing, getting blood out of stone to get a national voters ID, knowing very well that, the modalities, the basic modalities needed to come onto this voters register, it's almost non-existent.
Yes, Nana, it was in 2007 that the process for national ID started. You registered, I'm sure. I registered. I'm still waiting for my card to go with some 26 other million Ghanaians. We registered. I was then living Spintex Road. I'm in Teshi now. Spintex Road, just by Frimpoma Estates. And they said, it wasn't the EC, as I recall, but the National ID Authority. They set up the store there. We went and had our fingerprints and all that stuff done. So the question as to channeling our efforts there, with all respect, the effort has been channeled. Now we're waiting for the government of the day to release those cards. Why have they not released the cards? Why has the government of the day not released the cards? I'm not saying party of the day, government of the day, because it was under an MPP government that the national ID registration took place. And government is a continuum. So I'm not talking about party.
So why won't we up the pressure there?
You see, it's important for everybody, and I'm happy you mentioned it. Sometimes, if I can speak a little Ga, low P fite wonu, which means plenty meat doesn't spoil the soup. So while Let My Vote Count is putting pressure here, why cannot Occupy Ghana also put pressure here? CJA, where are they these days? They used to be there with the what they call the Kufuor gallons, saying prices are too high when petrol was $147 a barrel. Kwesi Pratt Jr. and Candidate Mills then picketed Parliament, demanding President Kufuor to reduce fuel prices. July 2008, because prices were going up to 2008. I'll quickly mention CJA, that they can also add pressure for the government to release the cards. While Let My Vote Count Alliance is doing its bit, Occupy Ghana is doing its bit, and CJA, please, dust off the cobwebs. We're in a democracy. Is everything hunky-dory now? Because now, petrol is now 35 cedis, but we're paying more than 16 cedis a gallon. 8 cedis of which is tax. Why are you CJA? So I want you to listen to what Nana and Sakwa IV has mentioned. Come and help our democratic discourse and apply pressure for the government of the day. And I know Kwesi Pratt, you know President Mahama very well, to release the National Insurance, National Identity Cards, while we do our bit and Occupy Ghana does their bit. And AFAD too are doing their bit.
Let's get back to this report. You're saying the report is asking the EC to produce a new register?
No. What the report is saying that it should do is to do a process of validation. And if I can read what the validation is, so I just want to be verbatim here. Okay. The panel's findings makes a strong case for what the report terms as validation. This is the report speaking now. Page 20 to 21. Again, I want people to Google as I'm talking. The panel proposes, this is VCRAC CRAB, Nana. The panel proposes that all eligible citizens who wish to remain registered voters must be made to report to their polling stations to be validated by way of both facial and fingerprints biometrically verified. Those who do not show up to have their voter status validated, which means confirmed, the report proposes should not be maintained on the register, in the same way that an eligible voter who does not show for registration will not have his or her name inserted on the list of voters. And I'll give you an example. Dr. Zenato Rollins was in the country when the list was open. She decided not to register, so her name is not captured. You can't force her to register. As we see today, she's not a registered voter. And so she can't go and validate because you don't have your card. Good. But everybody who has a voter's ID card, go and validate. And what they'll do is not just you take the card and they say, yes, you can vote. That card, you put your fingerprint. So they check that it is really Ibrahim Ajay, because the image on the computer will show who you are. Because the AFIS, the automatic fingerprint identification system, we are all unique, as you know, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's made us unique. That's how the wonders of God and His Majesty. So you put your fingerprint and the EC agent, the Electoral Commission agent, will see that, yes, is it me or is it some woman?
But now EC
and
is
that's
making
the
that
process.
optional?
Sorry?
The EC making that optional now, the verification bit.
And not optional. It's a recommendation by the panel.
No, but I think they were saying that, you know, you could, if the machine couldn't work, the guy could use his judgment.
You know, in terms of no verification, no vote.
Yeah.
They've said that if the machine doesn't capture you well, i.e. you put your fingerprint on and somehow it rejects you, but you can find your name on the list, then they will allow you to vote. Yes. Now, we're talking about...
You're in agreement with that?
I'm not in agreement with that at all. No verification, no vote means that. It's like saying you go to your bank, you forget your PIN number. Your PIN number is 2234. You forget it. Then you say, but you know me, Charlie, dispense the money now. What ATM would do that in this world? Which bank would allow you, when your signature totally is mismatched with what they have on their records? With the bank, my name is, as you can see, I'm a chief. Nana Sakwa the fourth. Listen, I've stolen your details. I go to your bank, ready to withdraw all the hard-earned money that you've worked for throughout your life and what you're doing for your community and your subjects.
See,
a bank would not dispense money because I've forgotten my ID card.
Because the analogy is a bit, doesn't work a bit. I mean, if I went to Odumasa to vote,
yes.
Numero uno, that's my town. This is my land.
Yeah.
If I come and this machine refuses to recognize me, so what? I'm the landowner. Let me vote. So if this guy decides that no, I'm still not going to allow you to vote, that would not be fair. But in this case, apart from the verification, my name is there and I have a card with my picture on. The whole town knows me. So maybe on those circumstances, you could use your discretion.
I mean, that is the fact now. You asked me a question, I was saying, I'm not in favor. They had the automatic card reader in Nigeria. And for those who watched on YouTube, as I did, when President Jonathan then went at his polling station, the card reader had to read his fingerprints 4 times. It's on YouTube. With all due respect, it's on YouTube. Quickly, I'm encouraging people to Google. The card reader they used in Nigeria, this April the 1st, 2015, a whole president had to be fingerprinted 4 times before it recognized him and then allowed him to vote. We are in a world where nobody is above the law. The law should be supreme. And the fact that I'm known in my town, everybody knows me in my house. Let me put it, not in Peshi, but in my house or my polling station. That does not guarantee me the right to vote because maybe I haven't even registered. Now, if my name is on the ballot or my picture is there and you can verify me, no problem. I have a problem with it because you said the analogy is a bit different, but it's technology that I was using. Because I don't think you would allow or accept that I go to an ATM with your card and I'm putting in the numbers. It doesn't catch. Then I said, Charlie, I'm close to it. I'm holding the card. Dispense the money. You as the owner of that card would be peeved, upset, angry at your bank for letting that technology dispense money. Likewise, we are the owners of the democracy. Would we not be peeved, upset that somebody who the machine doesn't recognize is allowed to vote?
Let me take a break here. And when I come back, the last time they went on a demonstration, we all know what happened. Somebody lost an eye, a few people were lashed. Have they asked the police? Have they spoken to the police? And what's going to happen this time? Police going to be more lenient? Are they going to obey and stick to the routes that is being designated to use? Indeed, have they sought permission, or are they just telling the police, we are going, come? Stitch. Your vote count, and I'm here with Ibrahim Ajay, a Ghanaian citizen who wants his votes to count. Been not taking any prisoners, he wants it done. Regardless of whether the modalities are there or not, that's not his problem. His right is that I need to vote, and anybody who's on the voters register should be 18 and Ghanaian. You go and find Ghanaians who are 18 and put them on. But if they don't do that in 7 days, what's going to happen?
Well, we've given notice of our intent to demonstrate. This nation has been built upon the citizens demonstrating. I'm even talking from the Africa Association of West African Merchants, AWAM, which demonstrate against the British. And today, I mean, you can see the cause and effect, that pivotal moment. There are others, I'm sure, but my history is not the best. But those moments where we challenged authority, I'm talking citizens. Today we are in this free land, blessed land called Ghana. And so we will continue to demonstrate the Kumipreko demonstrations, even the CJA demonstrations. They all add to the richness of our democracy, because at some point, somewhere, somehow, it impacts upon the decision makers and those who own and control the reins of power. And also it reaches out. We are contacted by groups from ECOWAS and the AU as well. I'm talking Let My Vote Count Alliance. Yeah. So what we do goes beyond Ghana, whereby maybe somebody at the AU can whisper in President Mahama's ear that, Charlie, how are things going in your country? Because we took that decision, just as the Association of West African Merchants done as well. I'm just giving that as a foundation to answer your question. Because some people think, what will the demonstration do? What will it achieve, Kra? Go demonstrate. As for the police, they're ready for you. We're not fighting the police. We respect and admire the work that the police do. But like the judiciary, there are some bad nuts who are not fit to wear that uniform, which is why we've taken the police to court and we've sued the IGP. The case is in court. I can speak to the merits of the case, which are in the public domain, without being prejudicial. So brutality was meted out on us on the 16th of September, Ghanaian citizens. You had a 70-year-old grandmother being whipped for demonstrating, the same way that the CJA and the AWAM I mentioned earlier did. And the great Azikwe left Liverpool, came to Nigeria and made the miners in Nigeria, I think it was near Ogbomoso in Nigeria. They went on strike in their process of getting independence. But coming back to Ghana, I'm just saying that for those who think that demonstrations don't achieve nothing, go and tell that to the Arabs. Today, where's Gaddafi? Where's Mubarak? Where is Ben Ali and co? It may not be the best. I'm not trying to compare us. So I'm just saying that we will demonstrate if the Electoral Commission don't...
Has the police given you permission?
No, we'll be on notice, of course. And remember, the police don't give permission. Let's understand the Public Order Act. Again, people, please Google as I'm talking. The police have no right to give you permission. They don't have the power. Our right is to notify them 5 days ahead of time, and then we go, and then they accompany us on the route. And
who chooses the routes? You or the police?
We choose the route, and the police help to assist us. And they can determine that because of A, B, and C, then you need to adhere to this route. If we don't adhere to the route, then they can take a court injunction not to prevent the demonstration, but the routes being followed after the fact. And it's important that we as Ghanaians educate ourselves on what our rights are. The police have no right to give you permission. They don't have that power.
Because of the numbers and the excitement, it becomes difficult to follow the route, and that's what I think caused the mayhem. Going forward, how do you assure or guarantee that, listen, this time we're staying in the route?
Oh, that is our intent. And now, you know, as much as we have the intent, as you mentioned, the numbers can be more than you bargained for. And every road has a side road, every road in this country. Let me take you back to July 2008. The CJA went to Parliament with candidate Mills and Kwesi Pratt. And I tell you on authority, because we're all here, all the demonstrators of the CGA did not use the same routes to get to Parliament. They did not. Some took side roads, but nobody lost an eye. The police didn't whip any 70-year-old grandmothers in the Committee for Joint Action. Nobody was tear-gassed. Nobody was horsewhipped and used hot water. On TV, it seems so innocuous, Nana. It's hot water that the cannon is blasting out at you. Hot water. It's like hot water. The evidence is there, so I won't go into the details, but it's hot water cannon. Again, please Google for those who are watching me on your fantastic show, sir. So I'm just saying that even though people took different routes, when the CJA marched to Parliament, now which has more power, Parliament or the EC? They took different routes. They got there. I gave their petition, and alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah, everything went on. So when we go on demonstration, if the EC doesn't do what the panel have told them to do,
so
and then of course we will urge everybody to abide by the routes that we agree with the police.
What would the EC do to stop the demonstration? I mean,
what would they
do for you to say, no, they've done enough, we're holding fire?
Oh, do what the panel says and give a timetable for validation. We are speaking to the recommendation. We are not demanding something that we want.
Validation or new register? Which is which?
No, validation. It's validation. We want the new register. We can't force the EC to do anything. Let's understand that.
Okay.
And we're not pretending to. Are you with me? Just as the Association of West African Merchants could not force the British to give us independence, but the process is a domino effect. Today, we should not belittle the efforts of the Association of West African Merchants. They went on strike. The British were denied revenue, and it gingered up the patriots within the Gold Coast. Today, we are no longer Gold Coastians. We're Ghanaians, and we're proudly Ghanaians. So I'm just saying that what we will do, we can't force the EC, but we will demonstrate in the hope that...
The process of validation?
Yeah, the process of validation, again, I'm reading to the panel. It's not, I want, without repeating myself, Nana, for those who are watching, this is not Let My Vote Count Alliance telling the EC how to do what we want. We've given our thing, and they said they won't do the new register. No problem. Alhamdulillah. Fisabilillah, we give it to God. So what I'm saying is this. The EC's panel has said, do this. We are supporting that voice to say that if you really meant to engage Ghana and our democracy by empaneling, then do what it says. Otherwise, it was smoke and mirrors, which our democracy will not tolerate. Are you with me? So do what the panel has said. And validation is simply this. Take your card. They open the register. They check who you are visually, facially.
But that's going to be done.
No.
What do you mean? No? They do that before in every election.
Check the timetable. It's not done. It's not done because we have 14 million people.
Don't they open the book to go and check if your name is still in there?
Now, what about the people who are dead? 582,000 people. 584,000.
Well, I mean, if they're dead, they won't vote, would they?
Oh, but then of course somebody can be given. Because remember now, we don't have no verification, no votes. So I take your a fellow citizen's card. We look alike. Remember, there's no verification. So I put my fingerprint, and John Mensah doesn't come up because I'm actually Ibrahim Ajay. I put, but you look like him. Am I right? So what happens? I'm given his card, the dead person's ballot paper is now in my possession. After I vote there, I'll use whatever cream I can to hide this finger with the indelible ink and go, because you know, it's all about Kululu. Let's understand that Kululu happens between the EC and some political parties, or all political parties. Let me put it that way. Let me be, without shielding anybody. So, after I've voted using a dead person's ballot paper, because he didn't get up to vote, but his name is on the register. So what happens? I get 2 votes. Now, we have 29,000 polling stations. Professor Mills won 2008 in Tain with 29,000 votes and something, nearly 30,000 votes. Now, imagine given 29,000 and we go around 2 votes, 2 votes, 2 votes, 2 votes extra, because I'm using dead people's ballot, because now there's no verification, no vote has been scrapped. That is 29 times 2. That is 58,000 votes that have been illegally, not illegally, well, illegally, because the person who should have voted is dead, but you got his vote. 58,000 votes have been entered into the system. And remember, when it comes to the presidency, it's only one constituency, isn't it? So I can vote for my candidate, but the president is one constituency nationwide. And Professor Mills won with 29,000 votes. And here I'm just giving an example of how 58,000 votes can be illegally entered. So validation would remove, because it's about deletion. Right now, the EC has removed, they tell us, 150,000 names of multiple registration. We thank them for that. But but they have not told us how many people who are dead have been removed. You know why? Because they can't. Professor Mills votes at Manette. I live in Teshi. So we're in the same catchment area. When he was living at Manette, that's where he voted. His polling station was inside Manette. So for those who are outside, know Accra well, after the Accra Mall, you come up straight on the Spintex Road.
Yeah.
And then after the Papaya is on your right. That is Manette. And that's where President Mills votes. Let's call the EC now. Let's call the EC now. And you will find, Nana, that ask whether Professor Mills' name is still on that ballot, on that polling station. And I'll tell you this. If they have not cleaned it up, Professor Mills and the other 584,000 people who have died since 2012. Professor Mills passed away in July 2012. The panel estimate, and they estimate according to statistics, we know births, deaths, and marriages, that nearly 600,000 people would have died since 2012 to 2016. And they are still on the register. So you and I know the wherewithal, because there's Kululu, let's understand that. We want the technology to remove the Kululu so that I can go and take Professor Mills's card. I go there, Charlie, you're not President Mills, Charlie, you know me. I vote using his card. Remember, no verification, no vote has been scrapped. That's why I said that I'm not in favor of it. So these are the things that the EC needs to do. Do the validation as your panel has told you. Charlotte, they say, what are you afraid of? I'm not being personal.
So what if...
But I'm being direct.
What if they do the validation and somebody's outside of the country?
Yes.
So what, your name gets taken out? Or?
Absolutely. That's the law. It's like when they do you're 18. When you turn 18, they open the limited registration, which will happen on April 25th or 26th, and you don't turn up. Is it the EC's fault? You're out of the country. So you miss that window, and then when there's another limited registration, you come. If voting is important to you, and you're out of the country, then you have to decide, is my country more important to what I'm doing outside? And it's a clear, remember, unlike Australia, it's not compulsory to vote. Even all the 18-year-olds, you can't put a gun to their head and say, go and register. They can all decide to say, me pair politics, I won't vote. And they have a right to do so. Yeah. You get me? And so let's do the validation. In Nigeria, again, I'm repeating, people Google and fact check. What I'm saying, Odasi, check what I'm saying is true or false. 16 million were removed. Osun State, spelled O-S-U-N, 500,000 were removed. Fake names, ghost names. That all this while, maybe, I'm not saying the PDP were, but maybe PDP were using those names and stuffing ballots, stuffing ballots, and they were in power for 18 years. But when God's time, they say, is best, in the Quran, Allah says, man plans and Allah plans, and the best of planners is Allah. God plans and man plans, but the best of planners is God Almighty. So plan all you want, as Jonathan did. You can't go above what God has decreed.
Do you think you get the numbers or people are just fatigued about voting? Well, forget it, we're not going to come out.
I'm hoping they won't. I'm hoping that they won't. In the 6th century, again, excuse me for the history, in Athens, Greece, they passed the law that in case of civil riots, you have to choose one side or the other, or you lose your right as a citizen. This is 6th century Athenian law in Greece. When there was a civil riot, the law was you had to choose one side or the other. And why? Do you know why they said that? Otherwise, you lose your right as a citizen. It's to prevent tyranny. By choosing sides, you can oppose. That was and Greek is the mother of democracy. Am I right?
Yeah.
It comes from the word demos. And you know, and so I put that in there when you say that, the question you asked earlier on, that it's important that we actually go and register. Don't say, it's not my cup of tea. We can't force you. But I encourage everybody of whatever political persuasion you belong to, register and support the party that you want.
What date are you hitting the road if things don't change?
Well, we'll have by next Monday or so.
Monday 21st?
Yes, we'll know what the position of the EC is. It's for them to issue a statement, and then of course we can take the necessary action accordingly. And you know that last year, in December, we won the case where the police can no longer go and get ex parte notice to prevent us. It has to be on notice.
Inform you.
Yes, so that's how demonstrations can add value to our democracy. Not just us, everybody here in Ghana who wants to go on demonstration. The police cannot go and prevent you from doing so with ex parte injunctions. That's how demonstrations add value.
Well, thank you very much. And let's wait and see if the 21st of March, the EC would come and say something which is sweet to the ears of those who want their vote to count. As in, let us all go and rewrite our names, and those who don't come get their names strike off or taken off the list. But again, let me remind you, as my 5th anniversary, we're inviting everyone to the Republic of Edumasa, this 26th of March, to join us in our celebration. Indeed, it's a grand one, probably the biggest day ever in the history of Edumasa. I have 2 paramount chiefs sitting. I have Odenokwa Fakutu III, and I have Togbe III, Awomefi of Anglon III. And I don't know how I'm going to cope, but I will handle them. I have Nana Frakoma II coming, host of dignitaries from government, host of celebrities, and indeed, Awodanswa gets officially introduced to the Republic as the First Lady, so she sits at an official place when the functions are going on. But it's all going to be done with pure tradition, which you don't want to miss. It's going to be full of color, drums, dancing. You don't want to miss that. And like I said, I'll show you my little green book of achievements of what I've done. You don't want to miss that. Since I've been bashing everybody else, I'm sure they want to know who then why. So you need to turn up and see what others. I'm extending an invitation to you.
Thank you so much.
It's a Saturday. I hope you are free on that day.
I will be there.
Come to Edumasa. Very simple. Head towards Atimpoku. Head towards Akosombo, and just follow the yellow big road until you get to the Republic. Thank you very much for coming in, and I hope the EC moves so that we don't need to demonstrate.
We pray so.
To you at home, thank you very much for watching. As I said, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again, and I hope to see you on the 26th of March at the Little Republic of Edumasa in Akwabu. Thank you. Thank you.